everyone, I'm here with monthly favorites for the month of July. I know we're in August now, but when I'm filming this, it is the end of July, so I thought I might as well do my July favorites. So let's start with card decks. Right now, one of my favorites is what I've been using for July, which is the Everyday Witch Tarot. I really love this deck. This deck is happy. This deck it makes me think of so many nostalgic things. This kind of makes me think, I think I've said before, it makes me think a bit of Harry Potter, obviously, with the broom and everything. It kind of makes me think of 90s, you know, Silver Ravenwolf, witchcraft, kind of cartoony. Also makes me think of The Craft. I really love this deck. It's beautiful, and I love the artwork on it. I love it has no borders. I love that it's kind of like, it is a bit slippy, I will say, but it is good for shuffling. I love the witch is doing her yoga. It's a fun deck. And you know what? I find it is a very straightforward read as well. I find that when I read for others with this, it's just like, doesn't pull punches. It's just like, bam, bam, bam. Here's what you need to know. So I quite like this deck. I love the colors on it. It makes me think of the Green Witch Tarot, which is another favorite of mine. So I will be definitely using this deck for readings. It's definitely going on the favorites list, that's for sure. So that's definitely one of my favorites for the month. Another deck that's a favorite of mine is the Rebel deck, which is an independently produced deck. And I love this deck. This deck doesn't pull any punches. It says it's a tarot deck. It's not really a tarot deck, but it is an oracle that says things like, you are giving too many fucks. Give 0. So it speaks my language. I really like that. I love the colors, very 80s. I love the unicorn, even though it's crossed out. I love unicorns, though, you know that. And I love, like, people love this deck. Whenever I put it up on Instagram, people just love that. Take a fucking trip. I got the mug that says you were talented and fucking amazing. Get some fucking sleep. It has practical advice. It's on like my kind of creative altar upstairs. So it's always up there. It's always with me. I love this deck. And it's like really fun. Like, it's easy to shuffle. It's, you know, it's a bit slippy, but it's not as slippy, I would say, as the Everyday Witch Tarot. Good cardstock. Drop the fucking ego. It's like your friend that just gives it to you straight. That's how I feel about this deck. So I love this deck. Yes, one of my favorites for sure. The other deck I really love, which is kind of on the opposite side of this deck, because this deck's like straightforward, to the point. You don't need a book to go along with it. This other deck I'm really loving because it is just amazing, and it is another independent deck. It is the Sacred Creators Oracle, which I can't read out enough. It's a wonderful deck for people who are creative entrepreneurs, people who are things like tarot readers, anybody who is an artist. Look at the inside, beautiful. Like, just even the design of this is beautiful, but the content, like, sometimes you get a deck, it looks beautiful, but it doesn't read great. This one does, and the book itself is really good, and gets you to think about your creative practice on a different level. So it's specifically towards creatives. Soul on Fire, Creator Earth. They've got the 4 elements in here. Lead Your Metamorphosis. Like, beautifully designed. Fill your cup with giggles. But each of these cards is very insightful, and then there's a whole little, there's usually 2 or 3 pages on each card, which really give you things to think about and journal about as far as your creative practice. I pull a card every week just for myself about kind of what, like, guidance for my creative business and my creativity for the week. Light in the Unexpected. It's just a beautiful, wonderful deck. And can I say the cardstock is like buttery and lovely. I just love it, along with gold edging. I mean, come on, beautiful. So loving these decks. I think these 3 right now are just some of my favorite decks. I just so glad I got them. So those are my favorite decks for the month. My favorite book for the month right now, I mean, I've been reading, I'm kind of weird, I'll read like a couple of chapters of this book and then a couple of chapters of that. I'll jump around from book to book to book. But right now my favorite book is, just on the floor here, because I put it down after filming, Claiming Your Power Through Astrology. Really wonderful book for getting you to think about your birth chart, your astrological chart on an archetypal level. Things like, because I have a lot of Leo in my chart, the archetype of the performer is very strong in my chart, and because I have I have a cluster of planets in my 10th house, that means that the entrepreneur or the leader is very strong in my chart as well. But then I also have things like the peacemaker and the nurturer, and the rebel as well in my chart, or the innovator. So there you can really think about some of the strengths you have, and what archetypes are at work in your life. So I really recommend this book. It's a really, really great read. Really enjoying it. My favorite crystal this month is a carnelian. We are in the month of Leo. This is one of my favorite. If I had to have like three, if I could only have like a few crystals, one of them would be carnelian, the other would be labradorite, the other would be black tourmaline. This is one of my favorite crystals. It's got a very fiery, creative energy to it. It's definitely a stone of courage and creativity, and that's why I really love it. It's very Leo kind of stone, I have to say, so carnelian all the way. And then I've been really kind of working with essential oils a little bit more than usual. Like, I tend to be more work with sort of like candle magic and stuff, but I've been working a lot with, I have this sweet orange oil, and I really love it. And I mean, I guess it goes with carnelian, they're both orange, right? But I really love it. It's sweet, it's uplifting, it's like a really lovely, lovely scent. It goes good with lavender, another one of my favorites. Oh my god, I could just smell that all day. Love it. And it's very, yeah, it's a very happy, cheerful, uplifting kind of scent. So that's for the woo-woo stuff. Non-woo-woo stuff. My favorite lipstick right now, I just got this color recently, so I'm still going to include it in the month of July because, well, we're in July. Well, not when this airs, but when I'm filming it. It is, I love NYX brand cosmetics. I have NYX Liquid Suede, and this is the color Foul Mouth. Love it. So I'm wearing it right now. That's what it's like. It's like a dark blue. They had a bright blue too, but I kind of like the dark blue better. So that's the color there. The line on it. So it's definitely a dark blue, like a navy kind of blue. Now I have to say I like the NYX Suede the NYX Suede lipsticks better than the Kat Von D. I did try Kat Von D a while ago because everybody raves about them, but I found that for the money I was paying, they didn't stay on my lips, and I found them patchy, at least the colors I tried. Whereas the NYX stuff, it doesn't stay as long as, say, like a CoverGirl or a Maybelline, but it's cheaper, first of all, and it goes on a lot smoother. My lips don't dry out like I felt like they did with the Kat Von D, so I actually really like this brand better, even though it's like a cheaper drugstore brand. But I do like that they have some very cool colors coming out, so that's, or they had it out for a while, but I do like they have some alternative colors. So I'm really liking this color because it's kind of like a dark blue, but it's not like blue. So I'm quite enjoying this one. So that's my favorite cosmetic right now. Other than that, favorites, this month I've been listening to a lot of like old school kind of metal. I've been listening to a lot of AC/DC. I've been listening to old Iron Maiden. It's one of those things where like you listen to something you haven't listened to in a while and you're like, oh my god, this is so good. Like, why did I stop listening to this? Like, this is great. I haven't heard this in a while. So really been listening to a lot of old Iron Maiden and Judas Priest and really loving it. And Judas Priest and Iron Maiden were one of those bands, like, they're bands when I was growing up that I liked, but I wasn't like hugely into, but I did like them, and I did listen to them, and I did have their albums and stuff. But now I think when I'm older, I appreciate them so much more. Like, I listen to them and I think like, wow, like they're really, really good. Like, this stands the test of time for a reason. So I've been really listening to that a lot. And then I also started listening to, like, not metal at all, started listening to some Lana Del Rey, and she definitely is like kind of creepy and moody, which sometimes you want. So I've been listening to her as well, especially she has her newer album Lust for Life, which is kind of interesting, and she has a lot of like metal references in her songs, which I really love as well. So that's what I've been listening to. For TV watching, I've been watching Bob's Burgers a lot, and I quite like Bob's Burgers. It's my kind of humor. It's very silly, and I love that there's a character named Louise who is not an old lady or somebody's great aunt, which I love. And I love just it's silly juvenile humor. I love all the songs that they have. So it's definitely like a show I really like to watch because it's lighthearted and fun. And then I've been watching as well, very silly, I know, but I've been watching American Ninja Warrior. And I'm not into sports at all. Like, not into sports, not into like bodybuilding or anything like that at all. Totally not my thing. But we started watching this, and I really love that it's like friendly competition. It's really interesting to see what they can do as far as like, you know, with these obstacles and stuff. And it's just like, it's just cheesy fun, which is sometimes a really good thing. And I always think when I watch this, like, oh, this is like, you know, America, like this is like the good part of you, like the part that's like friendly, competitive, that's just trying to do your best. And then, you know, like this is what you should focus on, like these kind of attributes, not like what's going on in politics right now. Like, why can't you be like this, not like that? So I always think of that when I'm like watching American Ninja Warrior, as they say. What else have I been watching? I don't know. I haven't been watching like a ton. Oh, and of course, ghost shows. I love ghost shows. I love watching Ghost Adventures, Dead Files, Ghost Brothers. So I haven't seen them in a while. I hope they haven't taken them off the air because I really like them too. And Paranormal Lockdown, things like that. I love anything to do with ghosts. I'm gonna watch it. Love that stuff. So that's what I've been up to. That's what I've been liking this month. Let me know what you've been up to, what you've been liking this month, and I will see you all next time.